Okay, we have Esther Garrel and translator to help, Louise Chevillotte. Thank you so much. I hope you like the movie as much as I do, and it was really a beautiful experience. So it was nice to catch the film again. I'm going to ask a few questions to Esther. We're going to have help from Nicolas if needed, maybe. And then we can open it up to the audience. So I hope you have some really good questions, and she can go back to Paris being very impressed by how intelligent the New York audiences are. As I mentioned in the introduction, we showed the film in the New York Film Festival, and you were there for part of the festival. We talked to your father, Philippe, and one of the questions that came, and I thought was interesting to hear from him, and now from you, it's about the process, the rehearsal process. Philippe mentioned that when he shot the film, there's a lot of rehearsal for the actors, and I think it was maybe for a year with you meeting with Louise. So can you talk about your point of view as an actress working for a film for your rehearsing? What was your experience in that?
Yes, actually we rehearsed for over several months before we shot the movie. And an afternoon each week. So it was like 30 afternoons, I think. And because actually it's his method to rehearse a lot. And then we come to the set and we have just one take for each scene. So it's very fast. And so finally the real work, it's through the rehearse. It's before, because on set it's much more about Philippe and his technicians, because they start to talk about how they are going to create the lights and all that kind of stuff. So yes, I met Louise Chevillotte a year before the shooting, and we became friends in the same time that we were rehearsing the scene together.
So he gives you, Philippe will give you a script for the rehearsal, and you rehearse a specific scene every week, or how does that exactly work technically?
It's a good question.
Thank you. I'm very happy.
Actually, he wrote the script with 3 other persons, his wife, Jean-Claude Carrière, and Arlette Langman. And they did the first version.
Draft.
Merci. And then when the first draft was finished, we started to rehearse and then through the rehearsals, we sometimes Philippe came on the Saturday afternoon, and he sometimes he said okay, finally we're going to put this in at the beginning and this one at the end. So he took our script and il arrachait des pages.
He tore pages out.
And then il collait des pages
and then he would stick pages together
avec ses ciseaux, sa colle
with his scissors, his glue stick, his tape.
And we started again like this. It was like this all the time, finally, because he was creating the script during the rehearsals.
It seems interesting for the digital age, he has these scissors and his glue.
Yeah, actually, because I don't know exactly, but not for this one. But jusqu'à très tard, pardon.
Until very late.
He edited his films with his hands. manuellement. Je sais pas comment
Yeah,
on dit.
manually.
Yes. So it's the same. I mean, as I said, with the script, with the film, and it's very artisanal as a process.
Do you have any saying in the script or the rehearsal at any point, or it just all decided by Philippe?
About the dialogue, you mean?
Yeah, like the dialogue, or maybe like some movement, or that he would ask you to do.
Yeah. I mean, he lets us to be really free, provided that we know exactly what we say. Actually,
He's strict on the dialogue.
yes, but I don't know if it's because I'm his daughter, but sometimes I wanted to rewrite some things for my part. I think Louise did it also because she was, I mean, she was in my group. I mean, I don't know how to explain that.
On my side.
On
I
my
have him.
side. So finally she also became a kind of daughter of him. I don't know.
So the girls were bonding,
Yes.
like ganging up against
Yes.
the
A
male
lot.
patriarchy.
Yes. Yeah, for example, there is a scene in the kitchen, and it's between Louise and Gilles, Louise and Eric, Ariane et Gilles, pardon. Sorry. And Philippe asked to Gilles to correct some copies because he's a teacher, and then he asked to Louise to do the dishes, and Louise said like, I'm not okay. I'm sorry, but he is going to do the dishes, and I'm going to be at the table writing some things. So it was a bit like this sometimes during the rehearsals.
It's the 21st century. We don't have to do the dishes. But it's actually interesting to see like how the process came about in terms of rehearsal. But at what point did you meet Louise?
Pardon.
You need some water.
No, I was sick. I'm sorry. It's Philippe when he works, he starts to he wants to work with someone, and actually for this movie he wanted to work with me. So from I don't know how to explain that. From me, he started to search the other actors because he needs to see the actors together in order to see if it works between them or not. It's like about chemistry, but more than that, it's if two people have a connection but beyond their own person. Sorry. No, it's not about appearance. It's about there is like une chimie,
Chemistry.
a chemistry that works or not, and it's not about like I mean for example when I've seen Louise for the first time, I was thinking, oh, she can be my friend in my real life, but it's not about that because sometimes the actors can be friends in the real life, but we don't know why it doesn't work on screen. So it's very important for him to confront the actors together. So we found Louise Chevillotte together. I was with Philippe all the time when we met all the girls. I think we met maybe 12, and she wasn't the only one with whose it worked. But for me it was just an evidence.
It was obvious.
It was obvious that she was the right person to do the job. And then he was looking for the father, so it was between Louise and I, because she had the part at that time.
And when did he cast Eric Caravaca, who plays the father? So it's a question about the casting the father, Eric Caravaca.
I think he was just he arrived just after Louise.
After Louise, I think he knows him already, so it was.
I have no idea.
Maybe you don't know everything.
I don't know everything.
It's not the first time you worked for your father, but it was your biggest role. But you've worked a lot with people in your family, even so that's the biggest role you ever had. You already worked with Louis in a short film. You worked with Philippe in La Jalousie. You had a smaller part, and you worked also in Caroline's film. Is it something that's important for you to work within the group or a family, or is it just like it just happened because you know them?
No, it's also because we enjoy to be together on set, and Philippe, for example, he needs to have some reason to work. I mean, we have. I mean, everyone has to have some reason, and so it's one of his reasons to enjoy making movies, to be with his family, because we don't know why exactly, but we like making movies. So
yeah, there's families of bakers and there's families of people in films, so there's nothing wrong with it. But does that make you feel like more at ease or more like worried of maybe criticism because you work with the same group of people? Is it easier or is it harder?
No, but I've been just in Louise short and two Philippe's features, so it's not that much.
No, but I'm sure a lot of people would be envious to be in any shorts or features by
Esther
Garrel or Caroline.
I understand what you mean.
But you're also in a really big film this year. You played in Call Me By Your Name, which is a very different type of film. Although I find some relevance in terms of your role because both films deal with like love in terms of like romance and versus physical love, and you play more like the romantic part in both films. So is it something that just happened by chance, or is it something that you think you're more appropriate to play like the romantic lead at this point in your career?
I don't know. I'm young for the moment, so I don't have any idea of the maybe it's. I mean, it's of course by chance.
It's by chance.
Yes, it's not a choice. But yes, I mean it also. No, I'm going to say something so far away from what you were saying. So
you can be open. You can say something far away.
No, it was just that the shooting of Call Me By Your Name was exactly at the same time that the rehearsal for this one. So it was just great to have the both of work with them because it was completely different. And they both wanted to shoot in the continuity with film, and I'm just so lucky to have worked with the two of them.
So you were rehearsing every Saturday for
yes
Philippe, and then you would work on Calling By Your Name at the same time?
Yes, I had to go back in Paris because Luca told me that if I wanted. When we met in Paris, he told me that, but I told him that I had to be in Paris every Saturday, so it was really, really complicated. And he told me that I had des avions en illimité aller-retour de Paris, Milan.
Unlimited Milan-Paris flights.
So I did a lot of going back for that, so it was just perfect.
Well, that sounds perfect for everyone.
Yeah.
Unlimited Milan Paris. But I mean, you worked with a lot of other directors. I remember, I think one of the first time I really noticed you on screen was with Bertrand Bonello and House of Tolerance. It's an English title. And you worked also in a film that we played here, the 17 Girls, the Collins sisters. So even though you said you're a young actress, you had a lot of experience in terms of like French, really auteur like cinema. And I was wondering if it's something you want to continue doing, or you think you would want to work maybe on stage or do totally different things, maybe in crazy American films, playing a superhero.
No, I try to just think about what is happening right now. Actually, I try to not think about the future too much. But yes, all of them.
Okay. Anyone wants to make a superhero movie? Esther is available. Maybe we can take some audience question while we have time, so it's not just me talking. There's a bright light, so please just move your hand if you want to speak. I can't see. Yes, there's someone there in the back. So it's a question about the rehearsal process. Can you talk maybe more a little bit about the technique?
Actually, for example, the first day of rehearsal, it was just to read the script. And the second one too, the third one too, and he wanted us to be immersed in the script in a certain way. And then he talks a lot about reflex memory, to not have any lines in the head, for being completely free to improvise like a following of thoughts. I'm clear. Yes, because actually he talks a lot about. He says that to play right, we have to think right. And if an actor doesn't play well, if it's not forcément.
It's not necessarily.
Merci. It's not necessarily because he's not good. It's because he didn't really understand what he has to do in the logical sense. So we worked a lot about the logical sense of the dialogue, and he was really like super aware of when we weren't clear about like a tiny word or sentence or something. So we were at the table at the beginning, and then we left the table to. It was in a big, beautiful room in Paris. It's much more for the theater actually, and yes, and then we left the table and we started to move in the room, trying to think that it was the sofa and this was the bedroom and this other side was the bathroom or something. Thank you.
I think we don't have much time, so we have time for one or two questions. So, oh yes, sorry, you're just under the light, so I couldn't see you. Sorry. So could you talk a little bit about your working on "Call Me by Your Name" with Luca?
It's we rehearsed a bit with Luca in the last 10 days before we started the shooting, because as I said, it was in the continuity also. So each scene was in the right way.
It was shot in order, in chronological order.
And but with Luca, he was more about the energy between all of us, because we were all the time together. We were all living in the little tiny town in which we shot the movie. So we were together all the time. So I think it was more about immersion and his he has a great, big, beautiful energy on set. So it's much more on set that we create something, and with Philippe it's much more during the rehearsal, and then on set we do just one take, then one take, then one take, and it's done. So we are on set like maybe for 5 hours. So with Luca we were on set from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, trying to search what on set, just on set, and together when we had dinner and we were talking about the scripts and some of that stuff.
I do have a follow-up question. Lucas mentioned that he was going to do part 2 of Call Me by Your Name.
Mm-hmm.
Have you? Is that a rumor or is that true?
I have no idea.
Because on IMDb you already credited for Call Me by Your Name too. So I just wanted to know if you knew more than me.
I don't know.
Just take the credit. We're gonna have to. Okay, we'll have one last question and then we have to wrap up. So it's a question about shooting in chronological order. If you prefer to do this versus now.
Yes, it's a big luxurious thing to have the opportunity to shoot the movie in the order, because you are filled by what you already did, and also because actually on the set of Call Me by Your Name we were hanging around, even we were not doing the scene, for example. So we were filled of what we saw, and for example for the last scene, I don't know if you remember, but my last scene, not the last scene of the movie, I was right before it was in the house and Timothée was crying and I saw that. So and we shot the my last scene right after. Not. I mean, there was also the. I mean. No, it was just that we were filled by what we did before. That's all. I'm sorry.
That's a beautiful summary.
No, I'm wrong about that scene. I was talking about another one, not the scene in front of the cheminée.
In front of the fireplace.
And yeah, not that one, another one. But he was crying too. So.
But do you want to work on stage too?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
If something good comes your way, you'll take it.
Yes.
We have to wrap up because we have another screening coming up, but it was
Yes.
really, really great to have you here, Esther. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
And we hope she'll be back soon for something else.